And now we're going to be turning to our panelists who at least 5 of the questions have been sent to the candidates ahead of time, and we're going to start with some of those questions, and those will have 2 minutes answer. These are 2-minute answers, and that's before we go to a lightning round later on. So we're trying to make this fun for everybody, but we start with Saree Mading on those questions to the candidates. And I think that the first question, following the round robin that we agreed to ahead of time, will go to Ms. Kishimoto.
There's much discussion about the role of choice in education. What is your position on the role of charter schools and vouchers in California? And please explain.
Thank you for the question. Well, choice is good. Innovation is great. So I oppose vouchers, and I support charter schools within parameters. So we all talk about an innovation-based economy. That my call to action as mayor was to build a green economy through innovation. But we needed innovation most of all in education. So charters do allow this out-of-the-box experimentation, which I believe is important. But of course, they are not all successful. Some of the data that has come out recently says that 15% of charters, according to their measurements, do better than the other regular schools. And 37% do worse, and the rest is equal. Obviously, this curve is not acceptable. We need to move that curve over to the opposite way, where most of the charters are better. So we do need to do a much better job of monitoring them, setting the right parameters, and also it's very important for us to, since charter schools do use public funds, that we learn from the experiments of that the charter schools do. So it's very important that they share the research with the larger schools, and we learn the best from them. Public school system, I mean, the reason why I oppose the voucher system is public schools, of course, are, it's very important that they be kept vibrant and excellent, that they continue to attract and serve from all the students, from the most brilliant to the most needy. And it's the unifying force in our democracy, and we have to be on our toes to make sure that we keep our public school system viable.
Thank you, Ms. Kishimoto. Mr. Becker?
Sure. I'm opposed to vouchers, and I think widespread vouchers in California are a dead issue, and I think anyone who believes in vouchers should really think about the unintended consequences of vouchers. I think charters are more interesting as a lab of innovation. I just want to make sure everyone understands that charters are a really small part of the landscape. It's about 4% of students right now in California attend charter schools. We're fortunate to have some fantastic charter schools in this district, in East Palo Alto, schools that started the charter school movement really in San Carlos and others. But they're very important, they're still a very small part of the landscape, and I'm very focused on each school and each student. And so I think that there's really no magic to charter schools. There are bad charter schools, and we have to make them into good schools. And then there are good charter schools, and we need to learn from them.
Thank you. Mr. Gordon.
Well, we can make it 3 for 3 on vouchers. I'm also opposed to vouchers. As it relates to charter schools, I think that charter schools have been an incredible asset to the innovation in education and can provide us with good learning lessons on how to improve our educational system. But having said that, I also think that charters bear a level of responsibility that comes with the capacity to innovate. Part of that responsibility is that I believe that charters need to make sure that their processes are as open and transparent as all public education should be to parents and to citizens. I support a limit on the number of charter schools that could exist in any given district because I think that there are challenges for districts who have to move beyond just their regular school to include the charter school concept. I also think that we need to find a separate funding stream for the facilities for charter schools because of the conflict that often arises between the innovation of a charter school and the ability of a local school district to figure out how to pay for the facility. Charter schools should not detract from the rest of public education. They ought to be able to enhance it, and I think a separate funding system would be appropriate. I also think that charters need to be held accountable to performance measures and standards, and that we should find a way to make sure that their innovations are widespread. Not all children learn the same way, and as part of the reform of public education, we need to find new and different ways to educate our children. Charter schools can help us do that.
Thank you, all three.